I have 7 o'clock.
7
We're alive, all right.
High school time, 7 o'clock.
All rise and we'll join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Fiscal officer will take the roll.
Porter.
Here.
Bell.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Hanton.
Here.
Kavanaugh. Here. Kulicki.
Here. We have minutes from the regular council meeting on November 27th. Any changes or corrections to those minutes? We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Approved by Bell,
Second.
seconded by Canton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have passed. We have minutes of a special council meeting on November the 29th. Any changes or corrections to those minutes? Motion to approve from
Move.
by Kavanaugh, seconded by Berger. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Abstained, so it was 5-0 on the special council meeting minutes. Well, we have no visitors here, so we were at the mayor's report. And I did, pardon me, apologize, I put a lot of stuff on your places. One of the things I put is what's on the screen behind the chief. It's a statement from NOPEC. Just kind of go through it, and you have a copy there. Jeff Heinrich is our representative for Geauga County, and they have the total enrollment, the gas and the electricity, which is required. It goes to our program participation. But the interesting thing right here is that $16,754.43. That's available balance of our money that they give us for energy. So we have that sitting out there. Over the years, they've given us a total of $58,000, and if we combine these two, we'll be up to about $75,000.
And so what's that used for, Mayor?
Basically, they give us money from their profits every year for us for anything energy efficient. The new door went on the
Okay.
service department. We insulated the attic of the police station, and we did tons of other things over the years. We just run this money through.
So more for us like updates.
Yes. Yeah, so they're just letting us know we got 16,000 sitting out there when we find something that we want to do. I think, Danielle, did we do generators through this at one
We
time?
did generators, we did the roof at Village Hall, and part of the service department roof.
On the back side.
Jeff is the fellow that did all
Yeah.
Geauga County
Yeah. It's on the
townships.
the back side.
He's a very nice guy, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it says below the available balance, funds that expire if not dispersed by 11/30/23, which was 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
So is that an issue?
No, it's what they're
Okay,
saying is we
okay.
spent everything we had.
That's zero, okay.
It's
All right.
zero, but then some of it will expire next year if we
All right.
don't use it.
So might be used to re-roof the service department building.
Could be something like that. I think, did we put a new furnace in here with that money?
I think that was on the schedule to be done,
Thanks.
and then that was a discussion a few council meetings ago. Whether we need it, do we do it just to do it, or if we need it.
Okay. And then at the very bottom, they kick in $1,500 for our fall festival every year.
Oh.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, next thing, centennial expenses. I hope you had a chance to look at it. Does anybody have any other additions or corrections to the centennial expenses? Ruth?
I do not.
Under $8,000.
Mhm.
Nice job. All right. Moving on, committee assignments. If you haven't given me your opinion yet, you still got time to give me your opinion as to what you'd like to do or would not like to do in 2024. Wreaths Across America, the wreaths are here. It's at noon on Saturday. And There is an eclipse coming up on April the 8th. It's something I don't know that we want to get involved in, so I'm going to put a notice in the newsletter to see if people want to do something. Dan Himes, the astronomer from Chagrin, is very willing to help us out. We were with the mayors last week, and what they found out, that's Cleveland Indians home opener that day at 3:15. So
Oh, so you're either a druid or a baseball lover.
they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. There is money, believe it or not, in 2 years, there's Be America's 250th birthday. There's money, $5,000 grants, if we wanted to get involved in doing something like that. But that's coming up, so we can start thinking about it. Do we want to do something to celebrate the country's 250th birthday? Had a walkthrough last week with a representative from CT and a representative from Mr. Excavator. It was not a pleasant walk. We walked through the Manor Brook floodplain, which looks just awful. Things that weren't done, things that weren't done correctly. We think we can correct it. The issue is, we started on this in January of 2019. Ohio EPA has given us a timeline. We're going to try this week with the landscaper, the landscaper that Mr. Excavator used to get some things corrected. They may be able to do it, they may not. They were unhappy that they hadn't been informed that this was not up to their satisfaction. We were unhappy with what they did, so there's some issues there, but that's coming up. Eric is not going to be here tonight. He's put a water well, right, Danielle?
Well, water pump.
Well water pump for his mom and dad, so he said he would not be here. But we've been in touch, trying to figure out what to do here. Thursday, there was a grant seminar on the financing, on how to do grants. It was from 9 to noon on Wednesday and Thursday. It was beyond me, god awful, boring. But, it's one of those things you put in the background and you talk way above our head. There was a good Zoom activity dealing with marijuana. Ohio Municipal League put that on, and that was excellent. And there's a ton of slides. Danielle passed that out the last time. So there's a lot going on there. Went to the NOCA, Northeast Ohio City Councils Association dinner. There were only like 15 people there. It wasn't much, but I'll give it another shot.
Did they have a program there?
Not much of one, frankly. It wasn't like anything special. I think it was supposed to be kind of get together, gathering. Last Tuesday, we had the VERCOG, which is all the police chiefs in our area and things that we were connected with them. I brought up the cost of the SWAT team. That was not very well received, but SWAT team the chief is smiling. It was not well received at all. SWAT team takes up 1/3 of the budget for all the things we do together, between the drones, accident investigations, all the different things. So I think we could look at something a little more with the idea of regionalism, but maybe down the line for a little bit. Thursday, Tim and I are going to look for going to Warren for the waste, to look at other grants for Gotta Go Green and our tire reimbursement every year. That's coming up. The mayors met in downtown Cleveland with Mayor Bibb, talking about what's going on. Very interesting guy. He's been there 2 years and he's still, he's taken some lumps, but it was very interesting to hear him talk about what's going on. It was all the new mayors and then some of the old mayors, and just kind of an update on what life is like as a mayor. Wednesday night is the advisory board for the health district. Don't know if there's going to be any changes. The last time we could not get a quorum there. Jog and Trumbull, one of the things I want to find out about too is, I don't know if you've got your sewer bill, but on the sewer bill, it says how they're now taking styrofoam. And there was an article in the Chagrin Valley Times on styrofoam. So we'll try to get that figured out. Last year at the Trash Day, we passed out this brochure which told people how to use the area out by the Sheriff's Department. That really was pretty effective. Chagrin River Watershed, Chris, I forgot to notify you. There's having a Zoom meeting Thursday.
4 o'clock.
Okay, you're on, all right. And the Mount Vernon project, Danielle sent out information about the Mount Vernon project. I did hear back from Jonathan Tybert saying he has already done 3 of the activities and thinks it's very good. Jonathan's I'm impressed with him, so I think I like his opinion. All right, that's it from the mayor. Questions of the mayor?
I have a couple of questions,
Yes.
just really quick. You had mentioned that you and CT and Mr. Excavator did a walkthrough of Manor Brook. Was OEPA aware that this is going to be something we're going to be doing to fix the issue?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Were they present?
No, they were not there.
Okay.
That, it's not pleasant right now in that whole situation.
Right.
So,
Is it something that we have to like propose to EPA? Hey, EPA, this is what we're thinking of fixing it with this landscape architect, and then they let us know, yes, it's okay. I just wouldn't want anyone to do anything without getting OEPA A-okay.
no,
Or Chagrin River Watershed Partners, please.
the agreement was when CT left, they would talk with Mr. Excavator, finalize what needed to be done, and then bring that up. Yes,
To the OPA.
to Ohio EPA.
Perfect.
Well, I think to Chagrin River Watershed first,
Okay,
so that they know what we're talking about.
okay.
Because
So somehow the conversation fell through the cracks?
I'm not sure. I think some things should have been done last fall at an earlier time. It was too late in the year. I don't know that we got on top of it quickly enough this year to say, hey, this isn't acceptable. Ohio EPA, they had some disagreements when they were on the Zoom call. It was just not good.
Okay.
So hopefully this week, CT is going to come with Mr. Excavator and figure out what can be done by the end of the month. Because theoretically, we're done by the end of the month with the grant.
And then one more question, I apologize. Was the OMA Zoom meeting mostly about employers and what they can and can't do with respect to recreational marijuana and the employees? Was it put on by Zashin and Rich? Does anyone know? It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
like last
Okay.
week. It was like 30.
I didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
No, there was someone in my office that did it for South Russell, and I just wanted to make sure it was the same one, the Zassin and Rich, and it was through the Ohio Municipal Association, or
Yes, yes.
Ohio Municipal League.
Ohio Municipal League,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
There's slides. I thought we got all those.
You may have,
Okay. Yeah,
and actually, you may have sent it. I'm not sure
I
if
think
someone else
you did.
attended it, yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was the same one, that's all,
yeah,
okay.
it's, again, maybe I'm slowing down. There's so much information, I couldn't keep up.
And it's changing as we speak.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions of the mayor? Fiscal officer, the floor is yours.
I distributed my report. I don't know if there are any questions. I did have one correction on the first page. The deadline for the first quarter newsletter would be Friday, March 1st. It was a typo, it said March 3rd. And then, I don't know if it's something council would consider, thinking about maybe putting in our council rules and regs, but if we can get a better deadline for things that are gonna be included in the council packet. Today, there were revision upon revision upon revision of legislation, then got pooled. And it seems a lot of things are coming in the last day, and it causes a lot of stress in the office and making sure we have the accurate information before council, and then the council doesn't have the opportunity to really review it before they vote on it. So I know many municipalities, there's a hard cutoff time, and if you're past that time, it would only be for something that's truly an emergency. So I don't know if council would consider doing that in the future, but we're having a problem with every council packet, a lot of last minute additions. So just
Do you
asking.
have a suggestion?
Thursday morning, I mean,
Well,
9 AM. That's usually some cities, their deadline's like a week ahead of time. I think if we can do something by, if you get it to us by 9 AM Thursday morning, then it'll be in the council packet Thursday afternoon. Then you can look at it over the weekend.
Maybe 9
Is-
AM Wednesday?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that's too late.
Well, Wednesday would be better.
Well, that's what, you know,
But then we have, and this
So we
is, sorry, just an example, like we did the committee meetings on Thursday, so would they lapse over to the next meeting? Sounds like,
Well, I mean, that depends when you have your meetings. That's,
yeah, we could change the dates.
yeah,
Yeah.
change the date of the
Try to get
meeting.
them to safety.
So we'd have to look at the
committee meetings a
meeting
little later.
dates and then back up the committee meetings.
the way it used to be in the past, the committees, the department heads were here for the first meeting of the month, so they kind of covered their department. And then the committee meetings were after that first meeting, but before the second meeting. So the second meeting, when the department head wasn't there, council kind of knew what was going on, that department would then take action.
That's good, that'd be great.
So if you maybe keep that in mind when you guys set up your schedule for next year. But, right now, you know, then we post the agenda on the website, but then people don't know what you're gonna talk about if things come out last minute, you know? Because people do sometimes call and ask, what is this about? You know, we see the agendas. So, and maybe if we can change the council rules in January, the first meeting of the year is when you guys approve them, so maybe you can consider something at that time, maybe.
Well, can we put it on the agenda for the meeting in January
This one's dead.
with, and let's throw out Wednesday, 9 AM as being the starting point, and then obviously if we have problems with it, we'll make adjustments if we need to. Okay, but that's perfectly reasonable.
Thank you, Mike.
Would you want it to be like a proposed rule by ordinance that's ready for January 8th meeting, or would you want to wait until after it's been discussed at January 8th and then an ordinance ready to go at the next
Probably an ordinance after
meeting?
January.
So the second meeting in January.
I mean, like some of the committees meet the first Friday of the month, others don't. So if you meet a week in advance of the council meeting or more, then you'll have ample opportunity to put in your committee meeting minutes, doing it that way. But if you do a meeting the Friday before the council meeting, that's gonna be a problem. There are times we need to,
Right,
but as a matter of routine, a week before the council meeting is probably the best time to hold the committee meetings and submit the minutes.
Thank you for considering that. That's all I have.
Okay, so I noticed in the financial summary that, I assume these are, 11/30
Correct.
balances.
Yes.
So just pointing out again that the total cash on hand at November 30th, $2,958,713.62. Almost at 3 million, not quite, but, so I think that leads us into the finance discussion.
Finance Committee, you got it.
Thank you. Just a note that the Finance Committee will meet on Friday, December 15th, 9 AM. So it's-
Actually, that meeting's scheduled for the 22nd.
Okay, well, we'll have to get together and change that because I won't be here. We'll have to figure out something else. Okay. But there were concerns voiced about our budget for 2024 and how much certain projects were going to cost and things of that ilk. And that our budget now is running at something of a negative $400,000 for 2024. And I would just like to remind council that again, based on the November 30th cash balance, that even though we have a negative budget, even though we also have to consider the salt dome and some other things, that we should be able to handle that with our expected revenues and our cash on hand, and maintain our $1 million safety buffer. So as we go forward, hopefully we can keep that in mind and we can get those things done. Other than that, subject to Councilman Gilkey.
Nothing to add, Chris.
Nothing to report at this point.
At this point in time, we've set aside the 8,000, something like that, for the restroom. It's not,
It's in the budget for 2024, so whatever we have to do to go forward to make that happen,
okay, and we will order the restroom that we picked up.
okay?
Okay.
Whatever, I don't know if there are engineering plans or anything else that needs to be done, but it's in the program and it needs to be
Okay.
scheduled.
Ruth, is Parks still in favor of that?
Parks is, yeah, they're very much in favor of it, yeah.
Good.
I'm in favor of getting the outhouses out of there.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Now, to order that, where does that fall? You get involved with the ordering of that? You got it, okay.
We can't order it until January because it's in 2024.
I'll call and get updated pricing and everything
Yes.
else. I'll get the ball rolling.
You want to bet on the updated price?
No, don't tempt fate.
Okay, anything else from the finance committee? Solicitors, floor is yours.
Sure, a couple of things. One is, we do need to consider, renewing, the contract with CT Consultants. I believe it expires the end of this month. I don't know if a new contract has been distributed. I think at one of the meetings fairly recently, Eric mentioned that the terms would probably stay the same. I don't know if a new revised agreement has been, submitted, but in any event, I think you might want to consider doing that tonight. Last year, if you recall, same sort of scenario. There was no like actual submission of the contract until after the fact. It was for 1 year. So you might want to consider doing that again because it expires at the end of this year. It's not a 2-year contract like it
Did he
used to be.
submit something?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
the
I
reason
haven't
I,
received it.
the reason I asked, on the old one, I'll call it B2, that's when they would take care of the stormwater management. And that's coming off the contract. We're paying Chagrin River Watershed's $5,000 to take care of that.
Right. So you
Okay,
might want to.
all right, you know what? I'll,
I mean, I'm just trying to avoid a special meeting if you don't have to have one.
oh, yes, okay.
But B, also, I mean, yes, of course, you could certainly do this retroactively at your first meeting in January. I'm just saying there hasn't been a contract submitted.
No. I'm gonna contact Eric this week. I will remember to ask him about the contract.
And then in some of the meeting minutes, I noticed there was a question as to whether or not consultants or others could participate in committee meetings or council meetings via Zoom. The answer is no, unfortunately, in a public meeting.
Say that again, Brady.
They cannot participate via Zoom.
Who can't?
Consultants or others who are participating in the public meeting, they have to be physically present, unfortunately. I actually think that the legislature is looking to change that for this. When do you want the sidewalk and the multi-use recreational path research? Because as I understand it, it looks like there might be a council meeting, special council meeting January 9th.
Yes,
Do you want that in advance, as in at the end of the year, so that everyone has it here at council, or you want it after the meeting?
I would prefer to have it afterward.
Okay.
What, here to have a special council meeting on that topic at this point, Mayor? I mean, I think we've talked about streets and finance and whatnot. And we have like
Nothing.
ballpark
Yeah.
numbers, but I don't know how real they are. And we have a public meeting that may create the impression that we're ready to move on this when I don't know that at this point that we are.
No, I'm going from the other point of view. I want to hear from the community. How much interest is there really out there? Like when I notified the Rolling Ridge, Daisy Lane people, hey, this is out there. It's like, no, the homeowners association president doesn't know this is coming. So my thought is on January the 9th is just come in here, people come here and give us what they're thinking about, what they really want. It could be one person in Rolling Ridge wants sidewalks, so I think there's a lot of issues. I don't want to spend a lot of time preparing for something that may not exist. And as far as the crosswalks, I did put something in the newsletter that there would be this meeting, and Chief and I are working on a survey asking people we had a survey for the crosswalk at Gurney, but it never got out. But what we're looking at is a survey on these issues for people to comment. So I think on January 9th, it would be come here and just talk to us what they're after. But
So I think maybe what Mark is thinking, cost-wise, this could be huge.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and who gets hit with these sidewalks and the maintenance of them. So that might be something we really want to have an idea.
Well, I didn't want to get into that. If you get into, all of a sudden, if you're talking sidewalks, is it going to be on my side of Daisy Lane or on somebody else's side? I think we get into way too many variables. Let's hear what people are having to say. Then we go out and say, okay, we would consider a crosswalk. Now, is the crosswalk going to be painted on the road, or is it going to have lights? Is a path, is the path going to be along Bell? Is it going down both sides of Bell or one side of Bell? Just hear what people are thinking about. I mean, we've only heard from like 4 or 5 people. I don't know that there's that much momentum. I think the momentum is going to be don't do anything else.
Well, Solicitor Bridie, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look into it, but I think that Ohio Revised Code basically says that the cost is borne for sidewalks by the property owners.
Typically, yes.
and
There's
they-
also another.
And they also maintain them. And I think the dilemma, no matter how much we try to think about the issue, is going to be, there are people who are going to be having to pay for it, and they probably may not be the most supportive, and people who don't have to pay for it might say, I enthusiastically support it, but it's going to be a tough baby to parse there.
There are municipalities that have a program for a fund to actually have the village or the municipality maintain the sidewalks. And I kind of wanted to look into that. Only, we don't have to, but I guess the point is if you have questions from the public as to who's going to maintain it and where's it going to go, I mean, that's fine if you want to just kind of get everyone's feel. I just think at some point we are probably going to have to answer those questions.
I think this is why some municipalities have the issue of sidewalks on the ballot.
Yeah.
Because trying to come up with a consensus outside of being on the ballot is going to be a tough thing to do. And we know from history that even when we have public meetings, you don't get a large segment of the population that participates in those. But, at least it'd be a start.
Yes, yeah, I agree, it's a start. Talking to the mayors of Pepper Pike and Orange. Orange had a battle, Pepper Pike was very easily done. The comment from both of them was to go slow, get their opinion, and, let people know that it's coming. Frankly, how many people read the newsletter?
Well,
The newsletter hasn't gone out yet,
But I
so
mean-
it hasn't gone to the printer. And I just want to bring up that there's a council meeting on the 8th. So if you're going to do this meeting on the 9th, will we have a quorum? Because I think we're down one at least.
You're down, me.
I'll be here.
I'm available.
Dennis, chime in.
I think so.
Chris, you wanted to say
I
something?
try
I was just gonna
plan
say
that far
that-
ahead.
Sort of piggyback on James's point, I think it's the revised code that also says there aren't bicycles allowed on sidewalks, and a lot of people seem to have interest in bicycles. And I know we had a visitor say something about multi-use or
Multi-purpose.
multi-purpose trails as
Trails.
opposed to, and that also might change the who pays for what, who plows what, et cetera, et cetera. But no, we probably should hear from more people.
Right, and that'd be a great research point, Bridie, is, I think there is a segment of our population that might think, well, if we call the sidewalk a trail, that means that the municipality will pick up the cost or some other entity will pick up the
A
cost.
path, yeah.
But, how those are defined and what the surface can be, that'd be great information to have as we go forward on this, because it may not be, here's a blacktop path or a trail, and I don't know what the guidance might be to say, well, it has to be hard packed surface, natural stone, whatever.
Yep, not intended for sure.
I don't know that residents know. Tim, tell me if I'm wrong, that we pretty much pave the shoulders of the road, and other places don't do that. So as far as bikes and walking, we have wider paved area on the roads already.
Bell was widened, 3 feet, 4 feet on either side.
Yeah, it was a lot, yeah. But that seems to have, no pun intended, gone by the wayside. Other places don't have that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just wait, see what shows up. Here, it'll be in the newsletter. There's a survey in the newsletter. See who comes and actually see if we get 2 or 20 or 40. And also then we decide if we're going to do. Like Eric had mentioned, street committee. I mean, to go under the power lines and go across there, you're talking a raised wooden platform like you have in the metro parks to get over there. It's, hundreds of thousands of dollars to build something like that.
And can you put a hard surface on the stretch of the park that's not allocated to us?
If it's in the right of way, it would be okay.
Yeah, so that's next to the road.
We could do it in the right of way, but we'd have to fill the ditch.
No, I think we see
No,
what
for
the
God's
real
sake.
interest is. If it's,
Do you want to hold off on the survey going out in the newsletter because it's specific to Sugar Bush only?
Mhm.
Or is that, you sent me an email, do you want to modify that survey before it goes out?
Yeah, I think we look at the survey and see what interests. People, if they read it in the newsletter, they may fill out a survey. And then let's see what the interest is. I don't want to do much on this. I don't want Eric getting involved anymore or having the solicitor do anything. Let's just see what the interest really is.
And possibly modify that before Danielle sends it out then.
All the
No.
newsletter says is that there's a meeting on
Yeah.
the ninth.
So the survey language is out, that link is out the.
Yeah, no, there's no link, it just says there's a meeting on the 9th at 7.
Wait a minute, we had a link though.
Was there a link?
I think,
Yeah, there was a
Well,
link.
I don't know.
I don't know if there was a link, but there was definitely a mention of a survey.
Link in the, on how to get the survey.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then do you want the link in there?
Yes,
Still? Okay, and you'll revise.
this way we can find out if people are really interested. Hopefully they read the newsletter.
So we're hoping that they even get the newsletter delivered to them before this.
We were hoping to get it to the printer Friday, but we're still waiting for the mayor to review it.
I
So-
still don't understand why 44022 mail, our district, is sent downtown. I do not get that. I'd be happy to go to the post office and ask that question. It's, why?
And we don't have control of it, so.
I think you should bring a bodyguard if you can. I'm serious.
Bulk mail can sit there for
I
2
pull out
weeks.
I'm the old postmaster's daughter, and they look at me like, yeah, big deal, but I don't get it. Why would we send it downtown? You're sending mail in your own place.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it goes downtown, but then it comes back
But
here for
why?
delivery.
Yeah,
Because,
Inefficient.
I did ask the question last week at the post office.
okay.
And the answer is because they no longer sort mail at Chagrin for delivery in this area. There used to be 2 slots. There was a local mail slot and then, an out of the area mail slot or other zip code. But they don't do that because they don't have either the space or the people to do the sorting here. So it all goes downtown, it gets sorted there, and then anything with an 022 and 023 zip code comes back to them, and then they sort it for delivery.
And that's why I got the Halloween newsletter on November 22nd.
Okay.
Ridiculous, abysmal.
I didn't say I agreed with it, I just said that was the answer I got.
My dad is an evergreen, he's face down, he can't even, I'm glad he can't hear this. Well,
Okay,
One
with that
last
note,
thing.
solicitor, you're still on.
Just one last thing, and that is the recreational marijuana. I know that the safety committee was going to talk about it. I think that they're thinking of maybe having a question and answer session with the solicitor, instead of having like an actual meeting to talk about kind of what, but I just want to let you know, just with everything that's going on with recreational marijuana right now in the State House and the changes and the tweaks and things like that, I'm just thinking, can we hold off at least till the new year at some point to do that?
Well, the one question that did come up at the safety committee is, you know, many municipalities are looking at a moratorium in terms of, you know, people establishing businesses in their communities, not to circumvent the new law that, or the new desires of the public of the state of Ohio, but because there are so many unknowns in terms of laws that will govern this. Lakewood was on the news recently, and basically their concern is that they have a community that's basically built out, small lots, houses on top of each other, an old inner ring suburb, but they have several parks, schools, playgrounds, etc. There are existing laws that say you cannot have these facilities or businesses within X amount of distance. They say that they're trying to preclude people buying or renting properties to establish these businesses. But, you know, they're, like, to your point, Counselor, there's a lot of discussion at the state level, and there's so many unknowns.
Right, and so a moratorium, it would be like a certain period of time that decide whether or not to regulate it.
Well, I guess,
Because that's the other issue, is that there's gonna be this 9 months before there are the licenses. And if you wait until the licenses are issued, I think you're gonna have a tough time prohibiting or regulating it. If it's not general, if it's specific, that would be pretty tough. I think you'd have a tough time to actually, I think you'd have maybe facing some sort of liability if you're regulating a specific applicant that comes here for development review for a dispensary.
Well, and Lakewood used the 8-month moratorium.
Yeah.
So,
So then they're gonna have to look at it again,
Right.
right? To make sure what they're gonna do. Are they going to regulate it all? Are they going to outright prohibit it? Are they just gonna be?
So then, I'm asking this in question form, are you able to research it to kind of tell us, here's your choices?
Yes, before the state started changing things. So that's the issue, is literally, there's committee meetings all this week. There's things, actually, I think they're trying to get it all done before the end of the year. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to. So it wouldn't be until the new year. And again, the licensing isn't even gonna happen until August, probably. So my point is, we have some time, but I would like to be able to do that, but just wanted to talk about, I didn't know how soon. I was thinking probably in the new year.
and it did come up at the safety committee meeting that there's
Yes.
already been one inquiry about a potential site
Yeah, no,
within our village.
For sure. For a dispensary,
Yeah, somebody asked about the bank already.
correct.
With that in mind, I think do you have access to all the PowerPoint slides? Can you send that out to
Sure.
everyone?
So
Yeah,
it would
there's-
behoove all of us to look at that.
Yeah, it's, I think there were like 64 slides, quite extensive presentation.
Friday, if we were to have a prohibition ordinance, that wouldn't stop a future council from repealing that ordinance and substituting some lesser form of regulation, would it?
That's correct.
So if we did a prohibition ordinance in January, let's say, no expiration date on the ordinance, but the following year, if council decided, you could take a different approach. But that way, you would forestall any dispensaries or things like that from popping up at the 9-month level. And that would presume that the state doesn't have some kind of legislation in the act that prohibits villages from doing what I propose.
Right.
So many variables. Good.
But my guess is the legislature's gonna allow for local control on, if no other issue, this one. And so a prohibition ordinance in January may be something council would want to consider.
Should we consider pulling liquor license too? Should we look into that? Stop the sale.
I missed what he said.
Should we stop providing liquor licenses and stop selling
Does it
beer
look
on
like
the
it's
corner?
1921 to you or whatever that was,
Well, that's what it
1960?
sounds like.
We actually don't have a say really on the liquor licenses.
Anything else, Mrs. Solicitor?
Well, are we going to have Bridie draft this ordinance for consideration?
Or we could wait till maybe at least the end of the year so we can see what the legislature does.
I think that's the wise stance right there.
If we
And
draft the ordinance, that doesn't mean council will necessarily enact it. It would presumably need to go through 3 readings since we have ample time. And if there are people in South Russell who are dead set on having their own dispensary, they would certainly be able to attend and voice their opinion.
where can we see these 64 slides? Did that get sent to us and I missed it?
Are you talking about the one for again, the Zassin and Rich, the one about the employers and the
Ohio,
employees?
the Iowa Municipal League.
Yeah, I don't think it really dealt as much with local authority and what local government could do.
It's
That
almost
was
exclusively about employers,
correct,
what employers could do and not do.
correct.
With employees?
Yes,
Yeah,
as far as
I'm
how,
talking
can
about-
you drug test them? Can you still do that? Can you terminate them for the drug use?
And it also went into exemptions for like trucking companies and things like that, because the federal government says no on marijuana use. And you can't have people who are high driving, hazardous waste or hazardous cargoes by federal law.
Right,
Brian, this may be just an unknown, but the question I have is, I know you referred to these businesses as dispensaries. I know for medical marijuana, they have dispensaries, but it's a highly controlled activity. You need special credentials to even obtain the product in from the dispensary. It's controlled access. I would assume that with the new law that we wouldn't have those controls, that it'd be like any other tobacco shop or anything else like that.
there's some controls. There will be some through this bureaucracy that they're gonna be creating for the licensing. So, and just so you know, the medical marijuana, we've prohibited outright here. No cultivating, no processing, no dispensary here in the village. So it would be similar to that if that's where you wanted to go. There's also, you can also regulate the number of dispensaries here in the village.
And I guess we'd also potentially, I don't know, look at our existing zoning as well.
Well, it's funny, the medical marijuana was a zoning issue. The recreational marijuana is actually not a
It's a-
zoning issue.
But it'd be a business activity, correct?
True, so
To
maybe
help
development
plan-
review and that sort of thing, but truly it would be an ordinance of council. It would not go through the rezoning and the zoning amendment process.
It's more of a planning commission thing.
They thought that the medical marijuana was for sure. I don't know about the recreational. I think the recreational would just be an act of the council.
Okay.
But in any event, I'm only just putting this out there because it's there, everyone's talking about it. I know the townships, at least in Geauga County, are pretty much all going to prohibit. So, just letting you know.
I will send out the slides, PowerPoint slides that I picked up from the workshop last Thursday.
Thank you.
So do we want the ordinance or shall we wait?
I say we wait. Okay. Anything else for the solicitor? Just a compliment to you. I noticed at 11:01 last night, we were working on some last minute things here for Bill Gallagher. He's the guy that you're going to look at in a few minutes, dealing with commercial blueprints and how we handle that. Chris Bell's going to take care of that. So thank you for your diligence. And again, this is one of those things, we've got a letter on November the 20th and we're trying to get it done by the year. Street Commissioner, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. I submitted my monthly report for November. Additionally, I was contacted by the Department on Aging concerning a date for trash day. If the council is ready to move on selecting a date for trash day.
Is that April? We usually do that?
April or early May.
Usually around Mother's Day somehow.
Well, I was thinking it was more like the third weekend in April,
It's been the last Saturday for a while,
last Saturday.
April 27th.
So when does Easter hit and all of that?
Easter's the end of March.
Well, snow,
Pick a warm day for that.
yeah.
April 27th, last Saturday of the month.
June.
I'm good with that.
All right, you'll see if we can get that.
I'm sure we can. There's only 3 communities already dated, so we'll be the 4th.
Okay,
I'll contact them tomorrow. So April 27th?
Yep.
Okay, so senior trash will be the 24th and 25th.
other questions of a street commissioner?
One more thing.
Nope.
Councilman Bell, you want to take care of the Chillicothe Road issue?
Sure.
Okay, that's all I have.
I might lean on you though.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, street committee.
Okay, a few things. As Tim alluded to, the excavating company that we plan to use for the Chillicothe Road, the ditching behind the homes on Chillicothe Road, came this week, I believe, to look at the properties and has concluded that it is way too wet back there to do that work right now this time of year. It would destroy more, I assume, people's properties getting back there as well. So they're suggesting that we wait until the spring to do that work. I don't think we really have much of an option, if that's okay with council.
Talking April or May, because March
Sure,
is gonna be wet.
as soon as it dries up, his situation would be when he scoops it out, it's just be like slop. And you can't level it out, you can't spread it, and it's gonna have debris in it, and there's no way to camouflage that at this time of year. So when it's drier, you can shake it out and spread it, and grass will immediately grow through that, or now it would sit and just be a sloppy, nutty mess. And plus getting in and getting out, we have to go on private property, and all that has to be restored. So this way, and if they have to haul anything out, there's no way they can get it out.
And they weren't able to do any work beforehand because they were waiting on the stuff.
We just
in the
received the
engineer's
engineer's
office. Yeah,
drawing on Friday.
okay.
Survey, and the engineers.
We have that now, we have the survey, the amount of material removed, yeah.
Do the residents know about this?
They don't know about the delay yet, no. I could contact them. I have a liaison that I contact, and he would take care of the rest of everything.
Could we send a letter from everybody from the ditch to the?
We have the permission from
Oh,
everyone,
Okay, that's even better.
and that's gonna expire at the end of the year, so I'll just get another one for the spring.
So that opens up an opportunity for the excavator if council is interested, moving them to do some work over in Fairview, some ditch cleanup. Do we have permission from the residents down there?
Not yet, but there's only 2 that are involved.
Okay, and we would need a quote on that. too,
Correct.
Right? And we don't meet again until January. That's the only issue I can think of.
Well, he's holding his guys while the weather is good. He's not gonna lay them off until the weather turns and doesn't come back. So he did mention he's available for other work if we have something where we could work off the road. And this would be between 2 residents where there's a empty lot where he could work in that empty lot. And then work his way, and that's pipe, so it's way easier to do pipe than it is to do open trench.
Trenching.
So we had like 7,500 appropriated for the Chillicothe project. Does that sound right?
It would be more than that.
Yeah.
Daniel, you remember what that?
I thought it was around 7,000 too. I don't remember though offhand. I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
Because his quote was,
Tim did him receiving the ditching quote for behind Chillicothe. It's 16,825. So it's significantly.
Boy, that's a lot more than I recall.
More than double, yeah. You're on track when you said we said about 7,000.
Well, we're not splitting this with the residents, we're
No.
doing this.
correct.
So we don't have this appropriated yet, do we, Daniel?
The Chillicothe, I thought we did. I'm gonna look it up.
I don't think it was that much.
I don't think it was that much. I haven't heard that number.
I don't think it was not this much.
Do you have any notion of what the Fairview would cost?
No, I'll find out this week.
Well,
how about this, let's,
Not to exceed.
yeah, not to
Let's see what
exceed
we allocated first.
$7,500, which is I think what we budgeted for Chillicothe. And then we'll move the 16,000 whatever it is.
To the 2024.
You want to make a motion for that?
Well, Danielle is looking for the figure.
Okay.
Can we go on and the?
Yeah, no, I was gonna- okay, so while Danielle does the work and we all stare at her, I'll move on.
If we could purchase the pipe through the village, and then if I could get the contractor to keep it under the 7,000 or 7,500, would that be acceptable, or would he have to provide everything involved with the project?
We would need to know what we appropriated first,
Okay,
whether it's 7 or 75, or whatever it is.
okay.
And then, while we finish the committee report, Mayor, I'd suggest Danielle will have time to find this, and then we can come back to it.
Right, and I believe I have money in stormwater to buy the pipe and catch basins that we would need for Fairview.
Okay.
What's the address here on Fairview, Tim?
I don't know offhand.
Okay.
It's basically the backyards on the east side of there.
It's on the east side, behind the people that were here for the stormwater that were having, the water was flowing into their basements from the windows.
So behind
It's right next to their house.
Fairview, between like Fairview and Maple Ridge?
Correct.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
there's a pipe underneath Maple Ridge, and then it goes to an open ditch across Maple Ridge to the backyards. And then it goes flat on the Fairview, and it just spreads out. And
Okay.
there's several lawns that get flooded on Fairview because of that. And we would gather the water into a catch basin and bring it in a pipe to Fairview. There's no real room to put it in an open ditch.
Well, if we had money in stormwater, and this is a stormwater project, I don't think there's anything stopping the village from buying the pipe,
Okay,
as long as the purchase doesn't exceed what's in the stormwater line item. And then contracting with the contractor for the labor, not to exceed whatever number Danielle comes up with. And when we, Mayor, finish the street committee report, while Danielle looks.
Okay.
Yeah, we got plenty to do.
We've already noted earlier about the January 9th, talk about sidewalks, multi-purpose trails, whatever we're calling them. Next thing is the engineer reported to us, we may have seen in the minutes, that his structural engineering team reviewed the salt dome as is. I believe he talked about it in stormwater as well, I saw in your minutes. They are suggesting that it really can't be saved. Am I correct in saying the foundation would have to be
Can't
torn?
lifted off and saved and.
Right, because the foundation's already moved, there's something underneath causing all that, and it would take a lot more time. Really cost effectively, it wouldn't be any better. That's their suggestion. After talking about this for a while in committee, our suggestion is for both streets and the finance committee in January to set up a time with the structural engineering team from CT to get an idea of the different options out there for salt structures. We'll talk about fabric tops, wood tops, the positive and negative of everything. So everyone has all the information they have, and we can make the proper decision as a team here. I think that's it for streets.
So we're talking about January 19th.
Somewhere around there. Well,
January 19th at 7:30 a.m. for a joint finance streets meeting.
it's already scheduled.
That's what we,
Propose.
We had discussed that possibility. Are you available then, Chris?
So I think the only issue in there is who's on those committees.
So there's 3 of us.
I can make myself available, but I don't know if I'll be on the committee.
well, if the mayor decides to change assignments.
5.
Sure.
Oh, that could be.
So when,
Everybody available the 19th. and
we're
Tuesday.
not getting rid of the salt dome now, but when we do, we can't put it in the same place.
It would be right next to this, a new one.
Okay,
just east of it, in the woods,
Am I gonna be here the 19th?
between the police station and the service garage.
okay, all right,
I will be here the 19th.
Presumably we tear down the old one, cart it away,
right,
or sell them in Dove deals.
right.
You
To
got-
someone
I'm
suspecting.
Any questions of the street committee? Here's a wrinkle now. I got a call this morning from, I think it's like 1580 Bell. Said that the ditch work needs the two new houses that were built down there, I think they've destroyed the ditch. Is that something you just do it in-house? Or is that
Yes.
something we want to throw on?
Yeah, it only goes, maybe 50 feet to the north off of Bell. We get permission from Plastics to go on their property. We truck it all out, but, in his message, he stated, hasn't been done for whatever years. It was done just a couple of years ago, so.
You're talking about up by Bell?
There's a utility pole right at the edge of Plastics, right where that sign is for Land Conservancy.
Yeah,
And from there, it goes to the south.
okay,
It goes between, next to that rental house and Plastics,
all right.
right in the tree line.
Probably we don't want to do anything now anyway.
No, we can't do it.
Okay. On a different note, since we're jumping there, Chief, they have a deaf child living in that rental house. Do we normally put up signs, or, I don't think a 9-year-old deaf child's ever going to be on Bell, but is it necessary or something? Maybe it's the next safety committee meeting we talk about.
We should, we haven't had that situation in the past as far as I can recall.
Daisy Lane, we had one for a while.
It was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Do you go by what the parents want or the family wants?
You would think that they would come and request something,
Yeah.
but if they haven't come to us and request anything yet.
No. The homeowner just mentioned the ditch and the
I
deaf
see.
child living there.
Okay, so it's a rental situation, okay.
A number of deaf children living in the room.
Before we move off the streets, I assume you haven't found anything yet, so.
Well, I found that there was a motion by, Chris Berger on September 25th authorizing you to get bids. I can't find anything on the motion list that you decided on an amount, and I don't see that it was, the appropriations were amended because I believe you had enough in stormwater. So I in stormwater, I see there's like 8,800 left, that's
How about storm sewer?
storm sewer. So you have about 11,000 in storm sewer.
Okay. So again, I can combine that if we need to.
I mean, the funds are there, if council's okay with
Yeah.
it, it's just be a matter of
I
moving.
mean, you can take the piping out of the first one and then the contractor out of the second one, as long as you don't go over on both,
Right, okay.
right?
Sounds fair. Do you want
Thanks, guys.
to do your matching with the motion stuff?
Do we need a motion for that?
We should have a motion, we should have.
Okay.
It's really good.
I move that the street commissioner, mayor, fiscal officer be authorized to enter into an agreement with,
Horizon Excavating.
for the purposes of doing stormwater remediation on Fairview, with a price not to exceed the total sum of the two line item budgets dealing with stormwater and storm sewer. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
That's 18,000, Daniel, roughly?
I'll give you a total tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't feel like you need to use.
Yeah.
No, I
Lower the better.
Okay, anything else on the street committee? Chris, you're good with street committee?
Nothing for me, Mark, you have anything?
All right. Chris is building committee.
Okay, building committee. First, last full council meeting, we approved the agreement with DAG Inspections with Dan D'Agostino. As a result of that, we asked for Mr. D'Agostino's resignation as the building and zoning inspector here in the village of South Russell to no longer be an employee. We have received that dated December 8, 2023, and it is effective, his resignation per the letter is effective tonight, Monday, December 11th, 2023. I believe council has to accept this resignation.
Make a motion to acknowledge the resignation of Dan D'Agostino, effective December 11th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Okay. Second, I'm going to skip ahead in my personal agenda here. Second, the Chagrin Valley Fire Department has asked the village of South Russell to require all commercial buildings to have something called a Knox box. This is something where they come up to the facility if there's an emergency and they can access it, the key box essentially, so they can get in the building or maybe get into the riser room or whatever is necessary in that facility. per the fire department, we are the only member community who does not require these in their commercial structures. Is that correct, Bill? Is that my
Yes.
recollection? We
I'm
were-
lost. What is it for?
It's called a Knox box.
It's kind of like a box, like a real estate
Oh,
company has,
okay,
that has
all
a key on the outside.
So you can get in, they can
So
get in.
they
For
can
emergency
get
purposes,
Okay,
no one's
emergency
there,
pur-
they
okay,
get
gotcha.
in, put out the fire,
Yep.
whatever.
Chris, how do we know only the fire department can get into it?
That's a great question. I think they have a special entrance key.
Fire departments throughout the state use these things, but how they preclude anybody else getting in, I guess with a drill, you could probably get into anything.
Sure, or big
Don't be
axe.
giving them ideas,
Well,
Dennis.
But the
Because
whole,
they're asking business owners to put basically a key to their place.
Yes,
Well,
only the
usually-
fire department has access to. it.
usually it's up high, it's out of the way, and it's essentially so that they don't have to break down the front door or, start being destructive in order to gain access.
Or you don't have to wait for a facility manager to arrive on scene to open up the facility for the fire department, which could be half hour, 45 minutes.
Sure. Who
The
knows what happens
building
in
is
that?
burned down.
They generally use them for false alarms.
Yeah.
Because if there is an actual emergency, they're gonna take the axe to the door anyway.
In his email, it said the only keys available to open the box are in the possession of the fire department.
Okay.
So if that's something council's in favor of, I suppose we'd have to draft up some kind of ordinance or legislation or approval for the next meeting. Lastly, on my agenda for this evening is, I think the mayor briefly mentioned his mayor's report in our last full council meeting about the gentleman at CT Consultants, Bill Gallagher. He's been doing our commercial building plan reviews for many, many years. Works primarily with the Architectural Review Board, if I'm not mistaken. CT is dissolving that part of their business. We'll still need someone to do those architectural reviews. Mr. Gallagher obviously is available to provide his services to the village moving forward independently of CT. Now, I know on your desk tonight were some things about Mr. Gallagher's or Gallagher Architects agreement. If the solicitor has looked through these, you are okay with these, I
The
understand.
revised, yes, correct.
But if council is uncomfortable moving forward tonight, we'd rather wait till January 8th. I fully understand that. You want some time to read. Or if you're comfortable with the solicitor's recommendation that everything looks okay.
So is his cost in line with,
So essentially, it's a pass-through cost, is my understanding. As it's the contractor who is in front of the Architectural Review Board pays the fee, and then the fee goes to
oh,
the
okay.
company.
And he charges, I think, $200 an hour, correct? That's his contract. Do you know what we would not to exceed? Would we do an amount not to exceed if we were to agree with this? Or just trying to figure out what that
I
means?
saw there was something in your proposed ordinance, well, not your proposed, ordinance, in the ordinance to put in a number.
Yes.
And I would love a recommendation from someone.
That number
I was just gonna ask. Mayor, do you know what we charge for those plans to be reviewed?
No, I do not.
Okay.
So maybe we should hold off a couple weeks just to give everyone a chance to look this over, come up with a number. I mean,
Talk to Ruth at fire.
on a simple level, it seems like a no-brainer for the village. It doesn't cost us anything. As someone who knows the historical knowledge of our village, has worked really well with the Architectural Review Board. He has the skills. You have to be certified with the state, is my understanding that he is. Seems like a great fit, but let's reconvene
Well,
it.
Bridie said she's reviewed it.
I have, I just wanted to make sure we have that, the not to exceed amount. It's kind of,
Okay.
it's $200 per hour, like what do we normally have a
Okay.
year, let's say?
All right.
We'll get some,
10,000 would probably work. 50 hours.
Well, these costs are things that the building department collects the money, when they do the plan review, and before we give them, release the money back, we take out what we had to pay CT.
Right.
So if we only charge them $250, but the plan review is $500, then the village is paying the difference for the.
Right.
So I don't know what the building department charged, I don't know what they charge.
we'll
So
get some
then we
numbers.
just need a little more time.
And if we wait a few weeks, we can push it to the new committee.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing. We'll probably have the same number, but it's a pass-through, meaning the village isn't out any money.
Correct.
This ordinance is for paying, the village paying the architect. But the architect will be essentially collecting this fee from the people who.
Well, we pay it, but we take it out of their release.
Right, so it's a law.
Mhm.
I think the 10,000 will work, and we can amend it if we need to.
When this gentleman was an employee of CT, what did CT charge for those services?
That was a good question.
That's
That's
good
the
enough.
Oh, okay,
So
all right,
that's why the
so,
whole,
I don't remember from the billing records. I'm not even sure they did.
okay, well,
Yeah.
so a couple of weeks to
Because-
find out the detail would be good.
It'd be our benefit to wait.
Yep.
He is still an employee of CT.
Until what date?
No, he's still an employee. They're eliminating this particular service.
So he's gonna continue to work for CT, but do this as a side job?
Yes.
Yes.
Will he be doing any of the engineering services that we have a contract for with CT?
I don't know about that. I just know that he's a
That would-
plan reviewer. That's his specialty.
Okay, that would be an issue. We would definitely need to figure that out. If in fact he's at all doing any engineering services under the scope of the engineering contract for CT and then also has this, we can't have.
Yeah.
We probably could not have both. That would
Let's
be
get
a
some
conflict.
clarification on that.
Yes,
There you go.
Clarification on the fees.
Yes, please.
Anything else? That should be good.
Well, what you can do is give it a first reading.
I mean, why, I mean, it seems like we have a significant amount of homework to do.
Maybe we'll do it, we'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I think it's the smart way, just to play it off.
Okay.
Clarification. Fees. And fees.
I guess, last question. Have we officially received notice from CT that they are no longer providing those services? And as of what date?
The committee was
End of the
not. maybe the
Okay,
second
well-
has.
No, I'm just, because, okay, CT's closing this down, but is it as of 12/31? Is it as of, I don't know, June 30th? And what's the connection? So
And that's the-
that would be the next question.
That's the second service we've heard that CT is no longer going to provide tonight. And it'd be interesting with their contract proposal, what's the impact of that on the price that
Everything
they're
Mhm.
charging?
But then, you know, they won't be offering the same number of services.
So, Councilman Cannon, do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm good.
It looks like we have to, is this for January or today? Certified funds.
Yes, that's today.
that's today because, part for DAG inspection services, he wants me to certify how much
That's right.
village we, up to dollar amount that we're gonna pay. We have that in the budget for next year under salaries and benefits. So in January, we'll have to amend the budget, but I don't know if you want that exact dollar amount or a different dollar amount, I don't.
No, my suggestion would be that in January, we move the salaries and benefits, I think it's 7,250 or something like that, and move that over to other and use that, don't exceed what we've already budgeted for his services.
Because it was an as-needed basis.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's kind of what we budgeted if he was an employee anyway, so.
So is that the amount, I mean, not to exceed?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm
just
looking.
double check.
Or certify those funds, however you want to call it.
Mhm.
Especially what's in the minutes for the building committee.
Not a dollar amount.
Okay.
So why don't we? I don't have the budget in front of me.
The zoning inspector, we had budgeted, 7,462.
Okay.
It's on the front page of the fiscal officer report too.
So we'll put the number.
Well, thank you. That would have been easier.
Put the number here too then.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to allow the fiscal officer to certify the funds of $7,462 relative to the DAG inspection services agreement.
Is it not to exceed?
not to exceed $7,462.
Second.
Question.
Hold on, discussion here.
Okay, so
You
two
got it.
questions. One is, it's effective January 1st.
Correct.
Do we need zoning services between today and January 1st?
So, Dave Hosevar will be covering that.
Okay, so he's covering it
Yeah.
for 2 weeks, okay. And that answers the
And
question.
you probably still officially have Ruth as the assistant. so
Right. There's coverage, I just wanna know, because if he was coming out and doing the work, you
No, no.
wouldn't have a budget
Right.
item to pay him.
Well, he's resigned,
Right,
and he doesn't come back until January 1st.
It's like 20
He
days.
volunteers his services.
I'll let you have that discussion with him.
David already mentioned he would cover for a few weeks.
Now, this agreement, he can sign tomorrow,
Which agreement?
the agreement with DAG Inspection Services.
Yes, we definitely can. I
Okay.
want to make sure that the date on there, because I think we had an empty, it's filled in effective January 1st, 2024. I just want to make sure. And then the funds will be certified at the back by Danielle of the 7,462.
462.
As long as that's all filled in, then
Where
yes.
do you
can-
have January the 1st on your
It should be in the
contract?
first whereas clause, and then also in section 4 too, of the ordinance. It may have been handwritten in by.
On the original
On the
one
original.
that was
Because if you
passed.
recall, we passed this actually last meeting.
So I know we have the ordinance, but I'm thinking on the contract. So we're making this agreement on the day of between the village. So I can say that's tomorrow morning,
Well,
It's effective
Sure,
January
that's
1.
fine,
but
but
it's effective January 1st.
effective January 1st.
Mayor, if you look under the witnesseth part of the contract,
Okay,
under the labeled term,
yep.
we should write in January 1st,
Okay,
2000.
because I
Which I
got one
think it
here
was
that
written
says
in
December
there.
12th.
Right, because if you recall, we were talking about maybe he would actually start immediately tomorrow, but then
Okay.
that was taken off the.
So I'm putting in here now, January 1, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and at the top, this agreement is made as of this day of between the village and South Russell.
Sure, you can do it today or tomorrow.
I'll do it tomorrow, okay?
Do I need this date on here since that's when they pass it?
So if I can do it today, I'll just do it today, all right?
You can.
All right, so this is now his official contract, passed by ordinance back on November 27th, and that takes care of all the blanks.
And can we
All right.
have a vote of council, because we have a first and a second for the 7,462?
Okay. We've had a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have now the funds, and we have the contract. We have his resignation, we have the funds, and we will sign the contract tomorrow. He'll become an employee as of,
Why we become a contractor?
contractor, effective January the 1st. Anything else, Chris?
Councilman Cannon, anything?
Just one thing on the building, somehow we've had a little glitch. When you look at the building department report, it shows some people that have sold properties a couple of years ago. Odd situations where they had Dave York, the guy that was 1101, and some other people have sold their homes. So Ruth's looking into that. She doesn't understand why it did. Anyhow, that just was a little glitch there. Okay, we're the chief.
Thank you. I just distributed the monthly report for October and November. We had a software glitch back in late October, and I was just able to get these two reports out to you. So if you have any questions down the road, feel free to give me a call. Also, we've selected an internal candidate for the SSO position at Gertie School. That is going to be Officer Michael Kleinknecht. And we intend on backfilling his current position with one of our current part-time officers. And we will have that action ready for our January 11th council meeting. That's all I have.
Questions over police chief?
849 vacation watch
those are all each check.
Yeah.
So is that that's multiple per day per resident?
Yeah, and it spiked from last year. And also, if you noticed, we've had 2 months in a row with 5 traffic crashes. People have been significantly distracted lately. It's the first time I've seen 2 5s in a row.
Nothing to do with the right on red?
No, so most of our accidents have been ACDAs. They're slamming into the back of the person in front of them.
So they're looking at their phones.
And we had one admit that. So they're being cited accordingly.
And we still didn't sell the traffic light?
No, that's on the list today for us to address.
Anything else for our police chief? Chief, I did notice we got Danielle set out the results of the levy, 83% passage now. Also creeping up there. All right, safety committee.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Safety met on December 7th. Council has received the minutes, and as the chief stated, also received the activity reports for the months of October and for November. Any questions at this time? Chief, would you like to say a few words about the emails that a number of schools in the state of Ohio and other states throughout the country received?
Yes, so as you've probably seen in the news, there was a number of emails that were sent out across Ohio, Northeast Ohio specifically. There were a handful of schools. A bond threat that was found to be of no serious intent. So FBI was involved, and they pretty much gave everyone the sense that this was a false report. Don't know where it originated from, but a number of schools got them. They were really good about communicating with their staffs and their communities, and we've had no issues today.
Also understand that our drone group participated in the lighting of the menorah downtown in Sherman Falls.
Yes, yeah,
How'd that go?
good, no issues.
Very good. Also at this time, I'd like to make a motion to allow the chief and the fiscal officer to go out for bid for a 5-year agreement for LPR services.
Who's that?
License plate reader?
We have a second, moved and seconded discussion.
Is that the flock?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, could be.
Service provider?
We don't know.
Oh, yeah, we're waiting for a 5-year agreement. Should we put a not to exceed amount on there?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
No.
All right, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Dennis, anything to add?
Thank you.
Nothing to add.
Well said.
Okay, questions of the safety committee? HR committee, you're approved.
HR, you got my minutes, and we met last Thursday, and we hope what will be the last time with our friend Jim Budzik, and have completed what we have for the updated employee handbook and policy manual. And the good of this, as Chris Berger keeps stating, is that it becomes a document that we can change by motion as opposed to going through a readings process. One of the things that the chief brought up, and I'm reading off my minutes if you have the sheet in front of you, it's about it starts with thorough discussion regarding social media policy. So Ruth said, I don't want people to be able to respond. And the chief said, just a minute, Ruth. He says, I've never had a negative response to the police department. And he says he only gets thanks. And the positivity is 100%. Hard to be 100% at anything today. Because we have stated limits on what's allowed to be posted. I see you looking at me, Brady. We feel that it'd be safe enough for people to respond because the chief is able to delete what's inappropriate because we have that stated. Do you agree, Brady?
So,
We don't have it stated yet.
so that's my concern. Right now, people can comment,
Yes.
and we don't have any of this in place. That's just my concern. I think there's a misconception that we can simply block something if it's inappropriate. I think if it meets maybe one of these 5 or 6 things, possibly. The spread of misinformation, I think we may have gotten even from Westlake. I think that's gonna be a tough one. I'm not sure that we can just take down a post for misinformation. I'm not sure what does that mean, misinformation? I know, but we can argue about that later. I just wanna make sure that since we have it already right now, there's no option. We really can't block anything unless it hits one of these 6 things. In other words, we really couldn't even have this discussion anymore about taking away all responses. We already have it. It's a public forum. It has to exist.
So if,
It already is, there's no way to stop it.
Right.
what if it's obscene?
Well, right, now you can, right? You're gonna be able to do that now.
Yeah.
But no, not, I mean, if we don't put this in place, if there's an obscene, we really technically are not supposed to be deleting it.
So you're
Once this is
talking
in
about
place.
between now and the first of the year, or?
Correct. And again, I'm so happy we have no negative comments. That's not, my role here is not to say, hey, listen, let's hope that we don't get any negative comments or to, say that we don't get great comments, which is, I'm glad we do. My concern is just the liability as far as these First Amendment rights. That's what all of the cases are about. It's about the fact that you posted it out there. It's a public forum. Anyone's allowed to say anything within reason as far as no obscenity, no criminal, no incitement. I just want to make sure that we're not in that realm of violating anyone's First Amendment rights.
Yeah, and that's why we don't take anything down. But again, this is both going for the police department page and the village hall page. We do get a lot of positive feedback. And in the event, there is a negative statement, most of the residents will, pretty much jump in and defend the village if anything were to happen. But again, we have not had any issues for the, I'll say, 10 years that they've been online. It's all been good and positive, but I would certainly like to see this implemented.
So it's all positive now, but if they wanted to, they couldn't change it and shut that option off now because it's already open.
Correct. I don't think you can shut it down. You can shut down for incitement of violence.
Right,
for
those are
these things that are in here, right? But I think we're gonna be really careful about the spread of misinformation. I think we should definitely talk that one through at some point. If in fact we get a comment that we think is spread of misinformation, we should probably talk
How about
about
spread of misinformation that could possibly induce panic?
Or cause something.
Or maybe just take
Something we need to,
It's just, no, keep it in, and we'll talk about it maybe in the future. I'm just saying that I think we should just be mindful of it, because again, it's this whole public forum thing. This is in front of the Ohio Supreme Court right now, 2 cases on this. Actually, I'm sorry, it's in front of the United States Supreme Court, not the Ohio. So this is a big deal as well. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying let's just be cautious. But there are a couple of things on this policy that I still think we might need to change before we adopt it tonight. One thing is we reference a social insurance number. That's for Canada, not for the United States.
For God's sake.
No, I know. It's just these little things. One is we tell the employer that they should contact the employee to contact his or her manager. We don't have managers here. We have supervisors or we have department heads. I'm just saying, if we're going to tailor this to the village, we should definitely. There's just a couple of things that I would recommend revising.
So how do I make a motion when we get to the third reading of that? How would I?
You could say as revised, for social, with respect to the social media policy as revised and amended to be, in alignment with
Okay.
village supervisor or.
Okay. All right, so that's that, and let's see. Well, if everybody read the thing, there's records retention, there's a whole lot there, and Chris Berger and I have sifted through that and those meetings, and quite frankly, I'm glad that we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel with this.
Amen.
Yeah, this is a lot.
All right, that's HR,
No,
and,
you have to there's a motion on there?
well, it's under ordinances, do we want to do it now?
No,
There's a motion regarding the overtime.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and this has to do with, we've been approving overtime calculations with accordance of the new policy. So I move that we approve overtime calculations retroactive to 5/1/23 to jive with the updated HR policy. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Good job, guys.
Properties.
Hang on, Bruce.
Oh,
Any other questions to the HR committee as such?
oh, I have one. So I submitted my notes and Danielle submitted hers. I gotta say respectfully, Danielle, I don't think that's necessary. We don't do it for anybody else's.
I did, those were just the notes Leslie typed and I wasn't here Friday to review them. But with respect to the handbook, there's a lot of changes and any documentation of what you guys approved changed.
Okay, well, it's not, it's notes, it's not my HR minutes, so go with it. I just didn't think it's necessary. We don't do it for anybody else's except for HR. So after we're done with this process, I suppose we don't need to look at that. All right,
Questions about the handbook. Do we need, and maybe with the department heads here, do we need to present this to employees? Would they really want to care or to read through it all?
You absolutely have to. Once you guys do adopt it, they have, not only do they have to get a copy of it, they have to acknowledge.
Sign off.
No, what I mean is have a little sit down
Oh, I see.
where we really go through it, say,
before we adopt it,
After.
after?
adopt it, sit there, maybe if we adopt it, get that done, sit down with them, then have them sign off. You know, I think it's just courtesy to say, hey, these are some things that are changes, this is how it's gonna be better for you. Something like that,
I would,
January.
yeah, I would give it to, after we adopt it, give it to each of the employees
To read.
and to read and tell them that there will be a meeting in January by department with an opportunity to bring any questions or concerns before the HR committee. And that way they get time to sort through it, and it can be as short or long a meeting as we need in order to get it done.
Okay. Thanks for volunteering to stay on the HR committee another 2 years.
Will you be attending that meeting?
Will I?
Yes.
If the mayor tells me I'm on the committee, I guess I'll be attending it.
I just think out of courtesy, to sit down and go through and say, hey.
That way the questions wouldn't have to be, oh, I have to get back with you.
Yeah.
No, and that's the whole idea.
Yeah,
Is
you're-
that at the regular HR meeting time? Or-
We have to talk about,
Let's just plan on having a meeting in January.
And I'm not ready to announce that date yet because I may have to change it, so.
Okay.
We'll get it out there. While we're still on HR, in the sample, did everybody get one of these employee handbook updates? So there's not page numbers from the back. If you count 8.5 pages from the back, and then some, hold on. And the title of it is The Drug-Free Safety Policy of January 2012. This has to be inaccurate at that 8.5 pages because we have Dave Hosevar as the drug-free safety program administrator.
All right.
So I think there's probably an updated, we'll delete this
Yeah.
one and then put in the new one. So that is,
Solicitor, won't there, if that was in 2012, would there be,
No, we did go through and we updated it.
oh, okay.
So I
there's
just
an
put the
updated
wrong
version out there.
version.
All right.
yeah,
So when I distribute it to employees, I'll give them the one. with-
yeah, the current one.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
Any other questions or comments from the HR committee? Property,
properties. Minutes distributed. I'm a minutes typer. I hope everybody read them. Southeast corner, Jerry, of Bell Road and 306. Ideas, and I think, Danielle, you put that in the newsletter to ask people what they wanted, I hope.
For what?
So the empty corner here, the corner lot, did we ask?
I hope not.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think we want to open that up.
Oh,
No, I didn't see it. Chief and I saw the rough draft of the minutes. I
all
don't
right.
think you want to do that, because I think,
Well, I added the word newsletter. Here's where we are. Exploring ideas continues. And we did discuss paths or sidewalks, about this, and, questions that came up were property acquisition for paths, pavement type, and maintenance. Huge, very costly issues. Tim mentioned the last thing that I had on there. He showed me an LED light configuration that only costs $300 and could put up, Tim, I want you to describe it though, it was beautiful.
It has 26 different patterns. What you do is you take the flags off the flagpole and you put this light system on it. And there's 14 strands that come down the pole from 25 feet, and it's a shape of a tree, and it has different functions where it has different light waves, and it's just kind of a cool thing. I could forward the YouTube on what it looks like, and it'd be a nice addition to the corner. But I don't want to be disrespectful to the monument that's there. We'd have to take the flags off and put this up for the
Temporarily, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like a holiday tree kind of thing?
it is, and so but it's not just Christmas, you could make it.
You can lock in colors,
Blue.
lock in
For,
blue, green.
and and it's $300, and he said they sell out every year early.
Yeah.
And so I'm all for it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was lovely. So we can discuss that. It's not a lot of money. And so you feel like it would have to be ordered early on in the beginning of the year?
No, probably before December.
Okay,
I'm sure they would have it in stock.
all right. Any questions for properties?
hearing none, we're at Parks.
Parks are quiet and people are walking, and we will switch into high gear as the weather gets better. Jerry, any additions?
I have no addition.
All right, no questions of Parks, we're at the Public Utilities Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. We met on December 1st. Minutes were submitted. We are moving the Public Utilities meeting for January to January 19th at 9 a.m. And subject to comments by Councilman Porter.
Just one thing, I got an email from Daniel Wise with regard to the possibility of the solar panel project. And he is asking about the contract we have with NOPEC, Daniel. How long is it and what's the rate that we pay for electric? I didn't know this off the top of my head. I figure if you could send me the contract, that would be helpful.
6 cents,
Per kilowatt hour?
maybe 6.3 or something like that.
Okay.
That's really good.
How long it is? I think it's 3 years, Daniel? I'm not sure though.
You just did something. I don't know.
It wasn't on the information sheet the mayor's got. So. We've been there for a long time. actually.
Anything else from Public Utilities?
Nothing further, Chris.
Chris, you good?
We're good.
Questions of Public Utilities? If not, we are at ordinance and resolutions. It's Ruth, and then Jerry, and then Chris Berger, and then Chris Bell.
Okay, so since we still have to make some changes, I'm going to read this as third reading of an ordinance approving the updated and restated and amended, and to be amended, employee handbook to be effective beginning January 1, 2024 as revised. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Roll call.
Porter,
Yes.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Kulicki.
Aye.
Ordinance passed. Thank you, Ruth and Chris and Danielle.
You're welcome.
And everybody else.
I just want to say one more time, Jim Budzik was a dream to work with.
He was a good find. All right, Jerry, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor. Introduce and consider for adoption a resolution authorizing the sale of personal property not needed by the village and declaring an emergency, and move to waive further readings.
Second.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Chris?
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance to move the advances back in the amount of $121,000 even from the permissive fund and $50,000 even from the culvert fund back to the income tax fund, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Chris?
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance to transfer $13,329.37 from the income tax fund to the culvert fund, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Ordinance passes. Chris Berger?
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance amending the annual appropriations increasing state highway fund expenses $10,000 even, culvert fund expenses $10,000 even, and income tax transfers $13,329.37, declaring an emergency and waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Chris Berger, last one.
Introduce and consider for adoption a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter,
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Galiki.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Chris Bell?
We're holding off on this one for the next meeting, I believe. This is the Gallagher one.
Lot of questions.
Yes. Okay.
I've lost my
All right.
updated.
Chris Berger, you're back.
Motion to ratify the bills list of November 29, 2023 in the amount of $127,888.52.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Danielle, we're new up there.
Porter,
Stay happy and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus to everyone in the village and worldwide. That's all I have, man.
Bell,
A couple things. First, I will not be available for the January 22nd council meeting. I guess I'll need permission from everybody to be able to work.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Excuse.
I move, I'm sorry, you're doing it?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I move that Chris Bell is allowed to leave one meeting, January 22nd.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, you're approved. Motion passed.
And secondly, since it's the last meeting of the year, I just want to take a moment, your reflection of the year. Thank all the department heads, all the employees here for everything they do for the village. Thank everybody on council for everything you do for the village. We don't do it for the paycheck. And sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree, but I appreciate each and every one of you for everything you do for this community. So thank you. Happy New Year.
Berger,
I echo Councilman Bell's comments. Well said. I also want to raise, just quickly, we've talked about IT issues, and we've talked about moving to be under the umbrella of the county. And it's been raised, we've actually passed an ordinance to allocate funds to start to move under the county's protection, this ADP program as it's called. In the last week or so, we've been notified that there are additional concerns and issues relative to the police department and how they function. And the county is asking that the police be brought under their umbrella when they originally told us that we were allowed to be separate. And it changes the dollars drastically from about, I think the initial concept was $42,000 and now it's at $82,000 in cost. So in January, we're asking that the county come out to a finance meeting and present their changes in thinking to us. So I wanted to alert council that while we continue to work on this, we're in a pause mode until we can get a better understanding of why they want or are asking for these changes to the program. So I wanted to make you aware of that. So, and that's all I have.
Okay, Canton?
Yes, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and a good night to us all.
Kavanaugh?
Kavanaugh doesn't need to wish I'd like just tag on to everybody else's wishes. I'm grateful that we were able to do the 100th with all its issues and so on. It's nice to be here, and I do enjoy working with all of you, so thank you.
Galicki?
I would be remiss if I didn't echo
Surely
the
would.
wishes. So, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all, and to all a good night.
Hopefully,
May we quote one of the great Christmas quotes of all time. It's a poor excuse to pick a man's pocket every 25th day of December.
see you all Friday at noon.
Okey-doke.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned at 8:41.
41. Won't be here Friday.
Church.